I'm Glenn Fox. Welcome. We're doing a series on the best 7 ways to get traffic for your website or your blog. When top producers were asked to identify the 7 best ways that they use to get traffic, these are the 7 strategies that they identified. Today we're going to be talking about solo ads. What is a solo ad? A solo ad is simply using someone else's list to mail your opportunity or your link to your website to. It's not free advertising, but it is fairly inexpensive. The cost is only about half of what pay-per-click or PPC advertising would be. Now, PPC is not one of the 7 traffic methods that we'll be discussing in this series. The only things that you actually need in order to do this kind of advertising is, of course, a solo ad vendor. And you need to have an email and, of course, a website or an offer to send your prospects to. Of course, you also need an autoresponder, which most of you already have, and you're going to need a way to track your links. So your main task in implementing this strategy for getting leads is to find a good solo ad vendor who has a list that matches your niche and who also has good leads that will actually get you clicks. Obviously, a buyer's list would be the most valuable because it would be made up of people who have already bought, and people who buy will usually buy again. However, most people are not going to give you their buyer's list without a premium cost attached to it, but some will include their buyer's list along with the list that they are using. The other thing that you need to be sure of is that at least 70% of the list goes to top-tier countries. The top-tier countries basically are the English-speaking companies. They include the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and one other that I'm not thinking of just now. That would be the United Kingdom. In order to find solo ad vendors, many people recommend that you go to Facebook. You can see that here in Facebook there are many pages dedicated to solo ad vendors. And there are some solo ad vendor testimonials, which is good to refer to. And there's many people that are trying to convince you that their list would be a great list for you to mail to. That's the way they make money. You need to be very cautious in selecting a vendor. When you select a vendor, you need to have somebody who is really going to get you some results. You could actually spend the money for your ad and get no results. So you want to look very closely at the testimonials. You want to see what other people are saying. You want to look for them to determine if they really seem to be legitimate, and are people really sharing the exact results that they got, or are they just using great superlative adjectives to describe them and not actually saying how many clicks they got for how many emails that were sent and how many sales that were made. When you buy a solo ad, very often you do not actually get your money back on the first run. But one of the main things that you're looking for is for the opt-ins, for the leads. So if you buy 200 clicks and you get 100 leads and 1 sale, you probably didn't recoup your money, but out of those 100 that you added to your list, you will consistently do follow-up and hopefully convert some of those into future sales. I want to give you 2 other sources to get solo ad vendors. One I believe is called Solo Clicker, and the other one, which is the one that I recommend, is called Udemy. With Udemy, there are solo ads with various price ranges, but most of them seem to be priced quite reasonably. Also, you will find that there's feedback from the users on the kind of results that they got. And this gives you some good information on choosing someone who's in your niche, someone who produces good results, and it also gives you the information as to how big their list is and how many clicks that you may be able to expect to get. It's kind of like an eBay for solo ad vendors, and there's a lot of vendors there, and so it'll be quite some time before you run out of all the ones that you find are worth testing. And you should always test before you buy large amounts. Always start out small. No more than 200. but I recommend even smaller at the 50 to 100 range. And then if you get good results with that, you can scale that up. So when you find a solo ad vendor, and this would be more so true just on the internet or on Facebook than on Udemy, you first need to contact them and you can negotiate the price. They may be asking 70 cents per click or $70 per 100. You may be able to negotiate that down as low as 45 cents per click. Let them know that you want to run a test, you want to see how their list produces before you place a big order, and if you get good results that you'll be placing another order with them. Don't be afraid to ask for a lower price, but be nice. Give them a good reason why they should give you a lower price. Don't be confrontive. Build a relationship with them, and you'll find it could go a long ways to helping you get good prices in the future. So once you've found a good vendor that has a list based on your niche, that has at least 70% top tier, and has really good reviews from those who have used them, then you're ready to order your solo ad. The next thing you need to do is agree as to who is going to provide the email copy. Sometimes the vendor would prefer to do that themselves because they know their list better and they feel they can better identify with them. On the other hand, it's often better for you to provide the email copy because you can make sure that you provide good copy that's going to convert well. So now let's summarize. You found a good email vendor, you've determined who's going to provide the email copy, you've agreed upon the price, and now you're going to run a small test of somewhere between 50 and 200. Then if it works well for you, you're going to scale up. So that means that you need to very carefully monitor the clicks. You need to know how many clicks that you got, you need to know how many were opt-ins, and you need to know how many were sales. The vendor will tell you how many clicks that he produced, but do you want to rely on his information or on what he tells you? So I highly recommend that you track these on your own. So getting traffic and leads with solo ads is really that simple. You can expect to get somewhere between 30 to 50% of the clicks as opt-ins, so they become leads for your list. And of course, a much smaller percentage will turn into sales depending on the offer that you're sending them to. So once again, as I've done with the other traffic methods, I want to challenge you to use it. This is not a free traffic method, but it is fairly inexpensive, and you can start out really for a matter of only just a few dollars. And when you find something that works for you, then you ramp it up and hopefully make money with it. Again, you need a good offer, you need something good to be sending them to, but then it's exciting to see the results as your list begins to build up, and hopefully you make a few sales as well. If you got any value out of this, then help me out and leave me a comment below. I'd like to know that I'm helping people out and that it really is offering them something that they can use.